All right, so the Foreign Secretary on Tuesday confirmed that yes, there is going to be a bilateral between Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping after that landmark agreement, the truce deal that was struck between India and China. Let's quickly understand the significance of this bilateral, which is coming after a gap of 5 years. The meeting, as we told you, will take place on the sidelines of the 16th BRICS Summit. In fact, there was an informal meeting that took place between Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Modi last year in Johannesburg. The first formal meeting between the two leaders, bilateral after pact on LAC patrolling in eastern Ladakh. In fact, note, it was just yesterday that China even confirmed, rather acknowledged the truce deal with India along the LAC border. The last formal meeting was in Mahabalipuram in 2019. That was prior to the Galwan clash in 2020, in which 20 of our Jawans were killed in action. The meet after China acknowledged border truce with India. So yes, like we told you, after the Chinese Foreign Ministry also acknowledged that yes, they are working with India, both diplomatically and militarily for de-escalation and patrolling along the LAC. There is going to be a bilateral, the breakthrough in patrolling agreement 4 years after the Galwan clash. So yes, after June 2020 clash that erupted in Galwan, in which 20 of our Jawans were killed in action, this is going to be an extremely significant meet. Short informal meeting, like we told you, between Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping that took place on the sidelines of the BRICS Summit itself that was in Johannesburg last year. So very crucial meet. Let's also now understand what are the key reasons. Why is it that China is looking to better its ties with India? The first being Vladimir Putin, who is a geopolitical glue between Xi and Modi. That being said, Vladimir Putin, who enjoys close ties with not just China, but even with Prime Minister Modi, given that Prime Minister Modi is on his second visit to Russia, the last one being in the month of June this year. So while Prime Minister Modi enjoys good ties with both while Vladimir Putin enjoys good ties with Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping, the ties between China and Russia is something which is working as a geopolitical glue when it comes to India as well. China looking to mend ties against Western hegemony. It's said that the BRICS summit, the BRICS unity is serving as a unity, as a bloc, as an anti-West front, something which has triggered quite a few reactions from the US and other NATO countries as well. China is India's biggest trading partner. The fact that China is increasing its imports from India and a lot of manufacturing hubs are turning to India when it comes to settling and setting up their manufacturing plants in India. The latter is working to ensure that it improves its ties so as to benefit not just India but China as well when it comes to the investment opportunities. China's close ally, Maldives, has mended ties with India, given that there was recently a visit by the Maldivian leader to India, and the ties between India and Maldives have significantly improved. Maldives is also a geopolitical glue between India and China. China's close ally, as we told you, Maldives has mended ties with India, in fact. And joining us on the broadcast is Ashok Sajjanar. Appreciate you, sir, joining us on the broadcast. He's been former ambassador of India to Kazakhstan, Sweden and Latvia. He's also worked in diplomatic positions in Washington, D.C., Brussels, Moscow, Geneva, Tehran, Dhaka and even Bangkok. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you on the broadcast. First up, your thoughts on what you expect could be the outcome of this bilateral meet, which is coming after a gap of 5 years.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on your show. Yes, it's a very important meeting. I think the fact that the meeting is taking place, and as you mentioned, is taking place after 5 years. So it is a big deal. And, it is the meeting is not, in my view, going to be only a photo op. It is going to be substantive because, there are 5 years have elapsed. The relations between the two countries have really been at a standstill, particularly after Galwan. So there will be some discussions on how to set the relationship on a stable footing and how to take it forward. Of course, I expect that there will be discussions on the broad contours of the partnership, particularly as far as the economic and commercial relationship is concerned. But the nitty-gritty and the details will really be left to the ministers and to the senior officials to work out. But the message that will be going out from this meeting after the meeting takes place is that both the sides are keenly looking forward to repairing these ties and taking it forward. That having been said, of course, India will have to move very cautiously because we have seen that China cannot be trusted. And in the past, all the agreements that have been signed, they have not had, China has not given much importance or treated them with much respect. So India will have to continue to be cautious and take one step at a time. Incremental progress is what I presume would be the order of the day.
Just come back to you, but let's once again tell our viewers that on day one of Prime Minister's visit to Kazan, the Prime Minister held bilateral talks with the Iranian president, and one of the key issues that was taken up in this meeting was, of course, the West Asia conflict. Take a look at this report, which has details of what ensued on day one of Prime Minister's visit to Kazan.
The optics couldn't have been better. With 5 new members and 32 other nations wanting to join BRICS, Russia's apparent geopolitical isolation is all but over. Since the start of the Ukraine war in 2022, Russia has faced Western ire, President Putin even getting arrest warrants.
Erstens, die Ukraine kann sich auf uns verlassen. Zweitens ist es eine klare Botschaft an Putin. Ein Spiel auf Zeit wird nicht funktionieren. Wir werden in unserer Unterstützung für die Ukraine nicht nachlassen.
Putin has the gall to say he's denazifying Ukraine. It's a lie. It's just cynical. He knows that. And it's also obscene. For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power.
Despite all this criticism, diplomatic rush hour in Kazan, venue of the 16th BRICS Leaders Summit, shows how strongly multipolar the world has become, with Russia still holding forth. As possibly the only truly non-aligned nation which is heard on both the sides, this is also the moment for India and Prime Minister Modi under the sun to be showcasing our position as a major geopolitical pole. Be it the key pre-opening bilateral with President Putin, or the acknowledgement from Putin himself to Giorgia Meloni of Italy that Prime Minister Modi can play a crucial role in peace in Europe. Both the global north and the global south indeed seem to be turning to India. However, the US was quick to put out its veiled stance on the BRICS Summit 2024, playing down the significance. But with all the action at the BRICS Summit in Kazan, has the West now realized that eliminating Russia from the global stage remains nearly impossible in today's global order.
All right, so US maintains that it does not see the BRICS leaders as its geopolitical rivals. Let's go across to Mr. Sajjan Har again. Sir, what do you make of the kind of bonhomie that Russia enjoys, not just with China, but India as well? Do you see Vladimir Putin as a geopolitical glue between China and India?
Yeah, I think Russia has been encouraging both China and India to mend fences and to come together. So that might have played some role, but I would imagine that, as far as India is concerned, it would have acted purely based on its own interest. Fine, as far as relations with Russia are concerned, they are important. They are more important in the bilateral context, in the geopolitical context, etc. But I think as far as the contentious relations between India and China are concerned, it would not be that at the suggestion or at the asking of President Putin that we would sacrifice our national interest even to a small extent. So basically we would have seen, and that is why the whole issue has dragged on for 4.5 years. You know, the Galwan took place in June 2020. And after that, it's 4.5 years that our core commanders have been meeting, our external affairs minister has been meeting his counterpart, our NSA has been meeting his counterpart, and the Chinese foreign minister. So, and at the diplomatic level also, there have been, more than 40 meetings that have taken place. So if Putin had to play a very significant role, then possibly this could have happened much earlier, because Mr. Putin has been, and the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has also been advocating that China and India should come together. Basically, their interest is that China, India, and Russia should present a united front against the the Western countries. But of course, India has excellent relations with the United States. India has excellent relations with Western Europe, Japan, Australia, etc. So India is not willing to, form any sort of a triad with Russia and China to confront the West. We will work with Russia because of our own interest. And of course, we are mending relations with China so that to ensure that there is peace and tranquility on the border, and we can focus on the development of the country and providing a better living standard, better ease of living as far as our people are concerned.
Yes, Mr. Sajanhar, we'll have to leave the discussion at that, but appreciate you joining us on the broadcast.